हमारी बड़ी खुशकिस्मती है कि हमारे दरमियान एक ऐसी शख्सियत तशरीफ़ रखती हैं जिन्होंने बड़े सगीर के लोगों के लिए, मुसलमानों के लिए वो नाकाबिले फरामोश खदमात सर अंजाम दी हैं जिसके समरात आज भी हासिल कर रहे हैं। मेरी मुराद सैयद अहमद मसूद साहब से है, जो कि ग्रैंड सन हैं सर सैयद अहमद खान साहब के। तशरीफ़ लाइए।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Minister Augustine, Mr. Peter Jacob, Dr. Arfa, Dr. Jafar, ladies and gentlemen, students, Assalamu alaikum. I have to say at the start that my talk will be a purely personal account of Sir Syed, not from the point of view of his work or teachings in education. So I hope you will bear with me. My name is Syed Ahmed Masood. Sorry, before I go ahead, I have to first thank Mr. Jacob for his very kind invitation for me to attend and address this audience. I feel deeply proud and humbled. And Mr. Jacob, I would also like to commend Faiza's staffing. She really has been wonderful, and she's been with us all the way. And Faiza, if you should ever decide to move to Islamabad, please let us know. My name is Syed Ahmed Masood, and I'm the only living direct descendant of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan in Pakistan. I was born in New Delhi prior to partition, which rather gives my age away, when the Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah held me in his arms in 1946 and said to my father, Akbar, I will give you Pakistan with the aid of my stenographer. It is up to his generation to sustain it. I was, of course, on that occasion, too young to understand what was being said. When I was older, my father recounted this incident to me, I understood the significance of the Qaid's words. For the Qaid was not calling for street protests or dharnas or violence to achieve his goal, which appears to be the preferred way to go these days. He was totally confident in his ability to gain success through his persistent advocacy and the written and spoken word, proving again that the power of the sword is mightier than the pen. Oh, sorry, I got it the wrong way around. The power of the pen is mightier than the sword. The slip of the tongue. We would do well to abide by this maxim today. Accordingly, Pakistan became an independent nation on the 14th of August, 1947, and my father and mother migrated to Karachi with whatever we could carry in early 1948. I should add that I was also being carried. Sir Syed had only two sons, Syed Hamid and Syed Mahmood. Syed Hamid had only one daughter, Ahmadi Begum. Syed Mahmood had only one son, Sir Syed Ras Masood. Sir Ras had only two sons, my late uncle, Syed Anwar Masood, and my late father, Syed Akbar Masood. My uncle had only two daughters, Shahrazad Masood and Shahnaz Masood, both now residing in India. I believe my cousin Shahrazad has also sent a message of congratulations to all participants of this conference. My father had only two sons, myself and my younger brother, Syed Mahmood Masood, who lives with his family abroad. It was Musharraf Jahan Begum, my great-grandmother's wish, that my uncle or my father's firstborn son be named Syed Ahmed and the younger son Syed Mahmood. Masood was kept in recognition of my grandfather, Sir Syed Ras Masood. My wife Shaheen, who is here with me today, and I have only two children, our daughter Ahmed Masood and our son Syed Ahmed Masood, both of whom also now find themselves living outside Pakistan with their respective families. So you see, it's a very direct relationship. Sir Syed was born in Delhi on the 17th of October 1817 to a socially prominent and intellectually distinguished family which had considerable influence in the court of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor. His ancestors came from Arabia through what was then Persia, now Iran, to Bukhara in Central Asia, and from Bukhara to Delhi during the reign of the Mughal Emperor Humayun in the 1500s. His paternal grandfather, Sayyid Muhammad Hadi, was a general of whom the then Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar had bestowed many titles, and his maternal grandfather, Khwaja Fariduddin, was considered the Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar's de facto prime minister. Khwaja Fariduddin was a man of many talents and had a great influence on Sir Syed. He was highly respected and had many senior English officials of the East India Company as his students, whom he taught subjects as varied as philosophy, astrology, and also archery. One such student was Sir David Ochterlony, who was the head of the East India Company in Delhi, a very powerful individual in his time. Sir Syed's father, Syed Muhammad Muttaqi, was a scholar of standing and a deeply pious man. He supported his family on inherited court pensions, and Sir Syed's formal education was, therefore, limited to the traditional training of a local Arabic madrasa. After his father's death in 1838 and the court pension ceased, Sir Syed refused a comfortable sinecure or position in the Emperor's court and took a junior position in the offices of the British East India Company, much to his family's annoyance, who did not want this. Through his ability and hard work, however, he went on to become the Sadr Amin or sub-judge at Bijnor in 1855. Interestingly, Sir Syed's character was forged not by his father, but far more so by his mother, who was a very caring woman, performing many charitable works, going out of her way to help others less fortunate, for which she always reserved 5% of her income. As Altaf Hussain Hali writes in his memorable biography of Sir Syed, once when Sir Syed was asked about his childhood, he answered that all his early life could be summed up in the following words: a mother's care makes childhood seem like paradise each day. But when we face the world alone, how soon we lose our way. However, Sir Syed's mother also had strict principles. And there is a story about Sir Syed when he was 12 years old. He lost his temper with an old family servant. His mother was so angry that she immediately ordered him out of the house. And he was only able to return a week later when he had to profusely apologize to the old servant. Altaf Hussain Hali goes on to write that Sir Syed spent his early youth in a very lively and colorful manner. He would take part in musical recitals, go on picnics with his friends, and was seen at most society functions. He was also an accomplished archer and swimmer, both sports at which he excelled. If, however, rather stern and forbidding when at rest, and you see this in all his pictures, it lights up genially when speaking, reflecting the warmth of heart which he so largely possesses. Interestingly, in all of his pictures, Sir Syed is depicted with a rather large white beard. What is perhaps not widely known is that was primarily due to his wanting to hide the goiter which had grown on his throat, and which in those days could not be surgically operated. What is also not commonly known is that the Khan at the end of Sir Syed's name did not denote family origin. It was a part of the khitab that Sir Syed was awarded, Khan Bahadur, which is why none of us have Khan behind our name. Sir Syed was a man of many facets. He was a pioneer of the Renaissance and Reform movement among the Muslims of India, indeed of the Islamic Ummah. Sayyid Jafri Sahab, an MSc from Aligarh, contends that, quote, Sir Syed's towering personality as a colossus dominated the hearts and minds of the Muslims of South Asian continent in a manner that is unparalleled. He was a selfless leader, a remarkable statesman, an unequaled organizer of institutions and associations, a lawyer, an archaeologist, the founder of a new prose style in Urdu, an author of several books, a journalist editing several papers and journals, an outstanding educationist, a rationalist with a deep faith in his religion, offering a tafsir or commentary, a moral reformer who through his journal, the Tahzibul Akhlaq, tried to uplift a moribund society, and above all, a leader whose aspirations have served to inspire countless generations, unquote. Suffice it to say, he was a very versatile personality who left no sphere of life untouched. However, Sir Syed's crowning achievement remains the creation of the Muhammad Anglo-Oriental or MAO College in Aligarh, the foundation stone of which was laid in January 1877 by Sir Syed and Lord Robert Lytton, the then British Viceroy of India. The college was awarded a university charter through an act of the British Parliament in December 1920, almost 100 years ago. I'm proud to say that I have the original silver kurpi, the hammer, and the angle iron used for laying the foundation stone, together with many other of Sir Syed's memorabilia. If and when any of you visit Islamabad, I would be very happy to share them with you. Sir Syed's mission in establishing the MAO College was to provide students with not only a modern education of the best and highest quality, but also moral and social training combined with character building and physical development. Indeed, one of the three stated objectives of the MAO College was, quote, to give an education which, while developing intellect, would provide physical training, foster good manners, and improve the moral character. In Sir Syed's own words, to create an insan and later a qawm. These essential criteria remained the essence of the education imparted by the Aligarh Muslim University, the AMU. The MAO College was therefore the genesis for the Aligarh movement, which led to the founding of the All India Muslim Educational Conference, the All India Muslim League, the Aligarh Muslim University, and ultimately in 1947 to the creation of the nation-state of Pakistan. For Sir Syed family held to the belief that, quote, हमको मुसलमानों के लिए तालीम से ज़्यादा वो चीज़ करनी है जिसको हम तरबियत कहते हैं और जो कौम को कौम बनाने के लिए ऐसी है जैसे जान बदन के लिए। दोस्तों, मुझे कोई ये बात खुशी की नहीं लगती कि किसी मुसलमान ने BA या MA डिग्री हासिल कर ली है। मेरी खुशी कौम को कौम बनाने की है। Both Sir Syed's letter to Lord Canning and his publications of the Asbab-e-Baghabat-e-Hind clearly reject the oft-repeated allegation that Sir Syed was a sycophant of the British. This is the belief I want to forcefully reject. Nothing could be further from the truth. The real spirit of Sir Syed can be judged from one of his letters when he wrote, quote, I am a Muslim living in India. I belong to the Arab race. From these 2 points you may note that by my religion and by my blood, I am a radical. Arabs cannot tolerate a foreign rule. They live and die for their freedom. My religion, Islam, also teaches radical principles. It does not favor monarchy or hereditary kingship. Islam approves of a head of state duly elected by the people, unquote. He went on to say, quote, what should be our line of action? The answer is self-determination, resolution, and a will to fight. We do not bother about government politics. Government must be made to realize that they may have control over our lives, but not on our views. Prophetic words indeed, particularly applicable today as well. Sir Syed was also criticized and termed a British puppet for not supporting the Indian War of Independence, or the Indian Mutiny, as the British refer to it, and urging his friends not to do so as well, for no other reason than he realized that the Muslim and Hindu forces were no match for the British, who were far better organized, equipped, and led. Sir Syed always maintained that the pen is mightier than the sword. I got it right this time. And the only way for the Muslims to deal with the British was by educating themselves, to take them on at their own level. Sir Syed's fears were fully realized at the end of the mutiny by the massacre of tens of thousands of mainly Muslims, including the razing of the entire city of Delhi by the British, killing every man, woman, and child. In a speech at Jalandhar in 1884, Sir Syed also showed amazing prescience when he emphasized that in the near future, Indian Muslims will be masters of their own destiny. He said, quote, "We would be free from the shackles if philosophy is on our right hand, natural science in our left, and the crown of Kalma on our forehead." Unquote. In the same year, while talking to Mr. Shakespeare, who was the commissioner of the Banaras division, Sir Syed said, "Now I am convinced that the two people will not be able to cooperate sincerely in any venture. This is only the beginning. Later, because of the educated classes, this hostility will increase, and those who live long enough will see it grow." It can be said that in modern corporate parlance, the creation of an insan and a qawm were both Sir Syed's mission and vision rolled into one. Indeed, Jinnah's biographer, Hector Bolitho, commented thus, quote, "Syed Ahmed Khan was the father of all that was to happen ultimately in Muhammad Ali Jinnah's mind," unquote. The Qaid also maintained that the Aligarh Muslim University was the armory of the Pakistan movement. And if it had not been for the students of Aligarh University, the creation of Pakistan could have been delayed, if not denied. What is not fully understood or appreciated, however, that Syed's many achievements were made in the face of strong opposition, not only by the British, whose Foreign Secretary Cecil Beaton had recommended Sir Syed should be arrested and imprisoned for his pamphlet, the Asbab-e-Baqawat-e-Hind, or Causes of the Indian Revolt, in which he laid the blame squarely on the British and had the pamphlet circulated to all members of the British Parliament at his own expense, as well as for spurning the Viceroy's grant of a hugely valuable jagir in return for his saving the lives of over 50 English men and women and children. The Hindus, who not only accepted British supremacy but welcomed it, and most of all from the Orthodox Muslim clergy, who issued many fatwas against Sir Syed's life for his belief in interpreting the Quran in the light of reason. He was dubbed an Ichari, or a follower of nature, for advocating that the religion of Islam was in accordance with nature, and this in spite of the fact that he sold his only property in Delhi to write, print, and distribute a forceful reply to Sir William Muir's book, Life of Muhammad, for being openly prejudicial to the Prophet, peace be upon him. Finally, in 1888, in one of his speeches, Sir Syed said, "In spite of the fact that Hindus and Muslims draw water from the same well, breathe the same atmosphere, and have dealing with each other, the fact remains that Hindus and Muslims are two different nations." Truly, as Maulvi Abdul Haq said, a minute study of the life and history of Sir Syed will reveal that the foundation stone of the building of Pakistan was laid by him. Sir Syed died peacefully on the 27th of March, leaving all his worldly possessions to the Aligarh Muslim University and having willed his two sons, Syed Hamid and Syed Mahmood, rupees 5 each. There was no money left for his burial, which was paid for by the university students voluntarily undertaking a collection to bear the required funds and raise the required funds. I am proud and deeply humbled to state that our family shijra, which is inscribed by Sir Syed Ahmed's grave at the Aligarh Muslim University, dates back to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, mentioning every single generation over a period of 1400 years. And to conclude, above all, it was Sir Syed himself who remains very close to us. The outlook and values which he espoused are more relevant today than ever. The spirit of inquiry, meaning not taking everything we are told or said for granted, pure morality, rationalism, and tolerance for others, even today. However, Sir Syed's mission is far from over. Many of the evils which he fought against are, alas, alive and well and very much with us. Amongst these are prejudice, intolerance, greed, selfishness, a lack of integrity, and a ritualistic adherence to form rather than substance. To face contemporary challenges, we will have to facilitate and encourage the process of adjustment, enlightenment, empowerment, development, and change. The Muhammad Anglo-Oriental College was conceived as a means of integration, synthesis, and reconciliation in order to face and surmount the difficulties of those times to our restless age, full of insecurity, confusion, doubt, pollution, instant communication, and the soundbite. Sir Syed's legacy is relevant and sustaining. His personality and his works will continue to inspire countless generations. And finally, to come. Oh, where is that? Yes, sorry, it's left here. Maulana Thali's moving and deeply felt tribute to Sir Syed is as true today when it was written on Sir Syed's death in 1898. तुम्हें कहता है मुर्दा कौन, तुम जिंदों से जिंदा हो, तुम्हारी नेकियां जिंदा, तुम्हारी खूबियां बाकी. We would also agree with the poet who said that if it were not for Sir Syed, हम कहाँ होते, तुम कहाँ होते. Thank you.